don't believe I'm going to make it. They've been clear what my future is. You don't get away with this. You can't tell the truth and get away with it. It's crime and punishment. They do the crime, you get punished. Gotta remember that, okay? So 18 years as a... 2004 I was injured. I was left unconscious on, basically in the lunchroom for an hour and a half while they danced around what they think they should do to cover up. You know, seems to be a pattern here. You know, again, controlled by Ministry of Municipal Affairs, workplace inspectors, landlord-tenant board, tribunal, all responsible for minimum standard. Find out after the fact of my, what was determined a critical injury, and they're sitting there, they've got control of the whole conversation, in spite of the record, in spite of the facts, in spite of the truth, same as here. Tribunal, everything to do, so financial, health, housing, education, workplace, all for security of person, all controlled by this prison system, municipal tribunal system, where they've already got the public record. We can give it to them as evidence, and they just go, well, that's notwithstanding because we're in trouble. Or whatever the reason is. Is it justified? Does it justify the ends, which is they're upholding some law? What law? Where do they uphold it? Where? So because of my disability and I have a brain injury, so I have every interaction that I've ever been with in front of these people, health-wise, in a hospital, healthcare, my family physician who dumped me mid-treatment, was allowed to, you know, set you free in the system, and here you have a healthcare system that doesn't even acknowledge that if you do not have a family doctor, they are the primary caregiver. The person whose name is in doctor's position on that form, billing on your behalf, is your primary caregiver in that situation. And without that distinction, this is what happens. 18 years of people getting paid in my name for treatment I have not received at all. And the minute you complain about it, well, look what happens. It's not the system. We have judicial immunity. So because of that, I've got 18 years of de facto evidence. It's not he said, she said. It's like, here's the date and time. This is who I'm with. You can hear them say what they're saying. They can hear me say what I'm saying. It's all clear. They know they're being recorded. They don't care. Because judicial immunity, I guess, right? Is that what we're getting to? Because go to Human Rights Legal Support Center, even though I asked for all these liaise services, none of which is done, they unlawfully arrest me. I'll describe what happened in the arrest too. You're getting to that. You know, even though all that, you know, they all because of their false narrative maintained at all levels. The required interagency communication for ex parte attempt is demonstrative of interagency cooperation and bias. I was on speakers' corners in Kitchener with my sign and trying to raise awareness, and they had 2 shifts of at least 3 to 4 officers in the parking lot maintaining surveillance on me. And that was several years ago. I can't remember, but anyway, I got video of it. You know, if they did that much surveillance on the employer who hurt me in the first place, or on this landlord, you starting to see where this bias is. It's about protecting who they need to protect, which is their system of connivance and misrepresentation, fraud, and misuse of taxpayers' funds, all while they sit there and tell us that we're the ones being protected. Do you believe it? And the reason why they're doing this is because I am obviously a perceived threat because of the truth of their actions. I'm the recipient. You are the recipient. They are the protractors. So workplace, 2004, the employer was basically allowed to operate unlawfully for 5 years, doubling his accident rate every single year with no health and safety policy. It is illegal to open your doors without a proper health and safety policy. And that is the law of the Labor Board and WSIB. And when you're doing it, because of their programs, you are involved with them every step of the way. So that, and every time there's an accident reported, you got a Labor Board inspector going in, you got 2 people from WSIB, and none of them over 5 years of doubling their accident rate. Notice there's no health and safety policy. That's sort of like they didn't notice there was a rental license here, right? And like what they didn't notice in Mississauga is they're writing those contracts. And what was it? Was it 407 with the NDP? So is it a political thing? No, the only political thing is, hey, I'll cover your ass if you cover ours, and we're all judicially immune, so, hey, who cares? Let's just do a charade, right? It's all a puppet show. Just for show. That's why it's called British North America Act. It's all an act. You gotta listen to what they're telling you. Medical care. I had a family physician who was allowed to drop me mid-treatment for no reason other than I needed care. And because I was asking questions. They're going, hurry up and wait. I'm going, but there's issues. The system does not recognize primary caregiver unless you have a family doctor, and that's a problem. That's why system paid every appointment, every doctor, and I never received treatment, including the 2 clinics that I just got refused from. I was assaulted at Onyx Care and then bribed, attempted bribe. Oh, I don't have enough information, blah, 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 blah. Go and leave, and it's like $100 having your form. Really? And I go to the physician's website to initiate complaints, but I mean, again, it's just a long list. And I find out the doctor who did it to me is under supervision for not having proper record care. And he harmed somebody. Matter of fact, you need to go look at it. Under Onyx Care, this doctor apparently drugged one of the people who worked there and had sex with her without her consent. And that is from the statement on the CPSO website. And these are the people that they allow to have attendant care. And it just so happens that he didn't have my records. Neither did Onyx, though. Neither did the doctor supervising him, because I gave them all those records, which was more than sufficient to provide, and we gave them the time sufficiently needed. It took 3 or 4 days for him to do it the last time, and there was no problem with that. And we paid the fee. And we got our form, and they still did no follow-up. They went to cover up, to sit there and check with him, and they wouldn't answer his phone. He wouldn't return the call, so they went, we reject it. So that cost of that fee was for nothing. And even though, and I was going, no, I don't have to bring that up, because, a new one covers retroactively. So I just said, okay, let's do it again. Let's try it again. Maybe there was a mistake. I'll just get a new one, and we'll do it again. There's no reason to think otherwise. It's not only that, as a person with a disability, government's known I've been disabled since 2004. This is a fact. Yet, some of the parts, you got to go in, they don't have a file on me. They don't know what my disability is. Every time they have to give me something, I have to give them the right series of words and context in order to have these rights. They only, 20 years of AOTA, they don't even have a protocol for how you can defend yourself, or even get proper records, or even get proper respect. But I bet you within a month of that euthanasia law being passed, you'll be able to go to ILC or anybody and get one of those applications filled out, right? Healthcare, really? And my heart, I got my neck, nerve damage, diaphragm damage, where it affects my heart, it affects my breathing, it affects my digestion. These are serious issues in spite of the pandemic. And everywhere I go, I'm told, notwithstanding, go away. Here, have a complaint form, including Human Rights Legal Support Center, because they're trying to get Manassians. They are the ones that are refusing treatment. At what point are they responsible? So no matter what happens, when you complain, further victimized, shut down, criminalized, and labeled. They control the conversation. They control the whole thing. So the arrest was unlawful. We asked for liaison services, AOTA, at all levels. We asked for our local rep with City of Waterloo. We asked when they discovered what we were doing, they just shut us down because we're dangerous. We're the truth. They're caught. And if we did not document it, you wouldn't have a way to know. They used my PTSD and disability to place me in a state of hypervigilance. They are still doing it, which is causing the distress and the PTSD and the heart problems. I mean, I don't think I'm going to make it. It doesn't matter, does it? I'm no George Floyd. And you know what? If I'm out of the picture, this dies. They know that. They have tapped our resources. They have cut us off from all help. This is inclusive. This is their inclusive plan, right? Well, what are they including us in? And let me remind you, I mean, again, only because of point of reference, probably from our age, but everything Hitler did was through the Municipal Act. Everything. When it came to the legal aspect of what he did legally, because everything he did in Germany was legal in Germany at the time. Do you understand where we are and what is happening? Old people dying saves the government millions of dollars in pensions. That's coincidence, right? And now they're renegotiating, by virtue of a pandemic, real estate. From what's been going on here, if this is the way they've been doing business, and obviously since RIM and Mississauga, how many years ago? And starting with the 407, how many years are we talking in Municipal Act? In the Commonwealth, go to our link where it links to what's been going on in Australia with regard to Municipal Act and these condominiums they're allowing to be built. Same thing as here, right? And how many corners have they been cutting there? Do we really know? The one thing we do know is that by withholding the lien on these properties and withholding the proper collection of taxes, these properties are very well overvalued. The mortgages are incorrect for the value of the property. The insurance is incorrect for the value of the property. The taxation bill rate is incorrect for the value of the property. They may be going to banks and financial institutions, may have already secured a loan for the full new value of the property, which has now been tripled, and once they get us out of here in June, will be tripled again. And then put on the tax roll as a burden. So I'm done. I mean, I'm dead. I'm lucky if I've survived this interview. So I guess it's all for you, eh? I mean, my message is clear. I mean, I'm not even withstanding with people in my family. Because everybody's taught, you know, oh, that's a problem. And I've got enough problems. Do you really? You know, I would say this is a big problem that everybody shares. But hey, what do I know? I got a brain injury. Anyway, they used my PTSD and disability with the arrest to place me in a state of hypervigilance and fear, and assisted to operate unlawful rental business. then arrested me for my protection and the public's protection. It was an improper arrest because, again, we had asked for liaison services. It should never have gotten to that. They're acting unlawfully because the landlord's acting unlawfully. To sit there and do any of that is acting unlawfully with the landlord and supporting that unlawful act, which everybody is doing unlawfully. I was not resisting. I was asking for my rights. And the way that they say the law works is like, again, they knew they were coming to arrest me. They knew that they had problems with me. Why didn't they have somebody with them? Because it's meant to be traumatizing. I was injured from that arrest. There was no medical exam, and this is where we have a problem. That's just signed off. This is a cooperative of willing partners. They're all protecting each other. I was handcuffed behind my back when I obviously, and I'm injured. I still have injuries from it. Made to stand in the hospital. Made to stand with the cuffs on behind my back for up to 40 minutes waiting for an examination room, supposedly. There was a chair right beside me. I go, can I please sit down? No. So I started, hey, speak it out loud. Nobody gives a shit. They just think you're nuts. And you're behind the door. Nobody can see you. And this is respect and inclusivity, and it's not punitive, right? It's not deliberative. It's not torture, defined as. There was no medical injury, no medical exam of my injuries at all. Doctor looked at the room, went, yeah, okay, here you go, sign off. And you're processed. Just like at the courthouse, any police station, I was processed. My arrest back in 2015, unlawful arrest then. I was ejected with with something with no medical doctor present. I was refused. Anyway, it's all there. And I get to put it all on YouTube and beg. For me and for Carrie and for Denise and for her autistic son Austin. Because this is inclusive, right? We're all included. Including the taxpayer. I was assaulted by multiple officers on more than one occasion. In the hospital. Intimidation. And again, the level of coordination and cooperation and information traded between the police, what was going on at the house, and the doctors in real time, used as a means. Again, the only reason why it didn't work is because I was aware of it. I'm aware of what they're doing. That's why, no, I'm sorry, I will not participate in that. And everything's caught on video and whatever, but it's probably erased now. And again, 6 officers. I mean, there was multiple officers at the courthouse. Multiple officers in the hospital. Totally unnecessary, but done demonstrative as a matter of force, traumatizing deliberately in order to send a bloody message. Again, this time, assaulted again. Threats. They've made it that, and no capacity hearing at all. None. All with a power of attorney in place. Ignored. I had protection of the law at every point, and they ignore it. They just do what the hell they want because it's judicial immunity, right? And who's listening? Anybody listening? They were trying to provoke my PTSD and always are. They ignore my power of attorney, no representation, no hearing ever. I was cut off of all follow-up treatment. Because I wasn't buying their thing. I'm sitting there going, no, I'm sorry, here's the objective thing. And regardless, there's no follow-up. I have been traumatized, stressed, we all have, and there's no liaison. There's no mental health services. Every time I call a liaison hotline or mental health services, they hang up. Or they don't respond. And I'm talking about we do normal tone of voice, whatever. We are notwithstanding. We have been disabled by our government, by the crown. Just like Michelle over in Rosemount. Just like anybody else who tries to go before him. And I've got video of these people breaking the law. Undescribable things. Fire code where there's a live electrical wire wrapped around a live gas feed, and they're going, there's absolutely no problem with that. I need my life back. You know what? I've got so much video storage and audio storage. I just want my life back. When I was in the court proceedings for the criminal fiasco that they put me through, it was recommended that there be a psychiatric referral and evaluation and assistance. And this was back in 2015. And again, Onyx Medical got the referral, did the referral, passed the referral on, got paid for it. Doctor calls us back and says, we don't know why they referred us because we're not taking patients. We told everybody that. So went back to Onyx and oh, okay, sorry about that. We'll get another one. Nothing. No response. Every point of contact. When I was arrested, I go to community, what do they call that? The legal, I mean the health place. Community Care Access Center. No protocol in place to assist the person, just, hey, oh, we piss them off, they get upset, we go, we're scared, arrest them. Nothing to do with what, and the reason why I was reacting is because of fear of me. Hypervigilance. Reactionary. That's exactly how they want every one of us. Reactionary. Not thinking. So here we go. So, I mean, again, they were paid. Again, the system, they got paid whether they do a job or not. It's all in my name. I got, on paper it says, oh, look at how much treatment I got. Look at how many referrals, how much treatment I got. And every last one of them got paid without having to show anything, that, and I never received any treatment. None. Don't ask, though, because then you're victimized, criminalized, demoralized. You're the problem. Just sit down, shut up, notwithstanding disabled person. Aren't you getting this yet? We take care of you and everybody else. So what does that mean? I mean, Benassia, do you think in his hearing they discussed about what treatment he didn't receive? Or the mistakes they made there? What about that guy who walked out of the hospital, hopped on a plane, went to Florida? Anybody remember that? You know, they're getting paid for these services without providing them. So why would they ever have to provide them? Not only that, do a logistical test. How many psychiatrists are there in Canada for a population of, what is it, how many billion? You know, I mean, look at the obvious. These are complete failures. And deliberately so, because they're only interested in one thing, debt and dependency through debt, through the rule of law, covered by judicial immunity. So why be lawful and uphold the law for anybody? It's only exploitation because they've got judicial immunity. They say so. What's their definition of good faith? Due process. And let me be blunt. Albeit Matfrey was above every concentration camp, which means work for freedom. Are you getting the message? I'm disabled. I'm not a Canadian worker. Old people are, when do they become disabled? They're no longer working for Canada. Matter of fact, they're a cost because especially for our generation, because the government has to pay 2/3 of our pension. And once you receive that pension, if you die, it's a death benefit. Done. So it's a quick payout. And people are living to be 100 years old now. So it's just coincidence that they corral them into the same space. And these are individual rights. I'm an individual. Each of us is an individual, but the only thing they have to do to take away is put us into a group like tenant, or disabled, or old age. Yet there's no age discrimination, right? Well, there's not, because they treat everybody the same. We're just casualties of war. We're their cows that are their commodity. We are the value, not the work we do. And they got everybody mass hypnosis, because when you look at your mortgage, you don't see the big negative sign in front of it. Because until you pay that mortgage off, that's a debt, not an asset. And anything else you add onto that is more debt, not an asset. Not yours anyway. And again, banks and governments are required to follow human rights, right? Which came first, the cart or the horse? Anyway, I've been refused treatment. It's a system of connivance. I was criminalized, and it's to protect the system of connivance, even to the point where I have been refused treatment at no less than 2 clinics in Kitchener. March 10th at Onyx on Lancaster, which included assault and attempted bribery. Then a week later, Benton Street Medical, where I was in there. I took extra precautions because of what happened at Onyx. Brought everything in. Made sure everything was on the up and up. And even before the girl was done doing the initial interview, the doctor comes bursting through the door, interrupts her. She's like, what's going on? And he's like, never mind, just get out. And then my interview progressed. Where again, I was assaulted again. I was refused treatment. I was told I had to pick a family doctor right then and there, right now, or I don't get an appointment. And I went, I'm sorry, I'd like to meet the guy first. And he's like, sorry, no. Yeah, and then I sit there and again, it's just an assault for no reason. I'm done. I get up and I walk out, and then I go on their website and it says they're not accepting patients. And this happens to be staffed by ER doctors from Grand River Hospital and St. Mary's Hospital, which now have an amalgamated board, which in St. Mary's Hospital, they are accused of wrongful death in the death of John Lichty, July 18th, 2019, with the CCICU, because they covered up the fact that they kept him alive for 2 weeks, at least 2 weeks afterwards, when the doctor was supposed to do it. They put everybody through that, including the workers. And this is David Williams. Same people that are doing this. You trust these people? You got no reason to. You know, and the other one works at Grand River Hospital, where this whole thing with the workplace injury, there was medical errors made, and what's been going on with this, you know, wrongful arrests and stuff. I gotta stop saying I'm sorry, I'm not doing good. I don't think I'm gonna make it, and they know that. If I die, it's no big deal. Right? Mission accomplished. Brain injury includes problems with my diaphragm, heart, digestive, stress, the PTSD, the psychological, neck injury with nerve damage. I get refused treatment, but I can go write it all down in a complaint and add it to the list of complaints. What's the definition of hardship? Basically, I was told to go die at the worst possible point. Then out of the blue, you know, and I'm trying to get help from Human Rights Legal Support Center, where again, they're just legal aid and they're in trouble and they know it. There's no way they can bring this forward because it's highly demonstrated. And out of the blue, all of a sudden, they backdated an earlier action or something. I don't know. But it's definitely against the rules. There's no way that they did this without the full cooperation and administration of the administration. And again, we've asked for AOTA contact, like disability contact, and nobody has responded, which is why we had to go to Tony Bruto, which is why we had to go to the minister. And here we get the hearing, notice of the hearing by accident. I go there, and guess who's the one presiding over the whole thing is Tony Bruto, and they got this hearing where they're not allowing us to speak when we weren't even given any documents. It's their responsibility to give it. When I said, excuse me, you're supposed to send it by mail, we didn't get it, we checked, and there's nothing, that's a matter for police, all of a sudden, I'm not allowed to speak. And they do an illegal order and they hang up, because it would get in the record what I have to offer. This is Canada, right? We are in Canada? Because the same thing was happening in the courthouse. There was only a judge and a crown, and the judge is going, hey, you done punishing him yet? Oh, have some more time. Okay, go ahead. Well, I'm being told, go ahead, put together your oh yeah, I'd welcome a charter challenge. Don't provide any means for me to have it done as a person with a disability, clearly in a disability, supposedly a disability court. They're sitting there trying to find a lawyer behind the scenes that'll put the rubber stamp on it, in spite of me. And it got to an impasse, so they had to drop the charges. Because I just wouldn't cooperate with lying. They're bullies. What do you believe in? It's a good thing I believe in God. Good thing I believe in God. I know there's a God. I have no worry at all about what's happening and where I'm going. I never used to be that religious. Life's like that, though. And, sorry, not religious. There's a difference between religion and faith. I am a man of faith. Faith is what you live, breathe, and have experience every day. What you put out there, what you receive. Religion is the bastardization of that faith. Plain and simple. Figure out the difference. It's a long way to knowing what's really going on. And let me just tell you, it's not about me. It is, but it's not. It's about doing the right thing. And, you know, not to compare, but, you know, even when Jesus was being crucified for telling the truth, every one of the people that said they loved and cared for him abandoned him at the last moment, too. So what, you think we're any different? You think we're any better? Even if it's a metaphor, it is a metaphor for life, right from the moment you're conceived to the time you die. Blind faith makes people blind. Faith is something you believe in so much that it just is. That's why they call it the living word. You don't have to preach it. You don't have to go whatever. You just do what it is you do, the right thing, for the right reasons, good intention. You wonder why the road to heaven's paved with good intention? Anyway. So I've been told to die. This unlawful order. And they're going to get what they want, June 11th, no doubt. Unless there's a pushback. We're about to be homeless again. And the minute I'm homeless, there's no credit rating. They've destroyed my credit rating. I've done nothing wrong. We're the ones who have done everything the way we're required to. We have lived up to every part of our agreement. In spite of it. Protection, eh? For who? And that'll make us dependent on the system by design. Because again, We had a place at $1,200 a month, locked in. I bet you any money that's at least $3,600 a month they're charging for that place right now, which means the added value to that. Again, they should have those taxes and those fines taken off, and that should be registered at the land registry, which is why we are demanding not only the inspections, but they register that order with the land registry immediately. Because it would go on the system, and if they are in line for any loans or anything like that, that would be reported the way it is required by law. So Finance Minister, Attorney General, Solicitor General Doug Ford, you are aiding and abetting an unlawful rental business. And by the way, Atlas Property Group closed permanently. He's now just operating as Koenig Holdings. Or hiding, I don't know. We still haven't got the answer yet. And we can't go to the police because the police are aiding and abetting. We're the enemy. We're the criminals, remember? But I have individual rights. We all have individual rights. Disability rights and patient rights. Notwithstanding is a legal term. The only difference between Uyghurs in China, Palestinians, and homeless anywhere is geography. The policies are the same. Implemented by the banks through government. The banks are the ways and means, and they are ignoring human rights laws. They are ignoring law. You cannot make an knowingly unlawful contract. Or can you? Because if you can, then we need to change these rules. Anyway, question, does banking government, are they required to follow law, including human rights? You know, banks and lawyers and rule of law dictates policy through municipal system. I mean, Charles even described it as the Great Reset, right? And it's coincidence. It's only coincidence that these real estate, like long-term leases in places like Toronto, all of a sudden pandemic comes along and oh my God, you can't afford it anymore? Well, gee, sorry we were giving you that $17 or $25 or $30 a square foot, but now the lease is up, we get to do $100 a square foot or whatever the hell it is, right? Long-term lease. Again, people not getting this. They're over, if they are this is one set of properties in Waterloo region where they are doing this little shell game with the land registry and work orders, and this is one that's been done. They're resisting every aspect of doing the right job, and this is like, it should have been done the first place. Again, we are calling for the minister to implement a system of, you must have a standardized lease that is the only one that's acceptable. You do not have any kind of rental license or rental in Ontario without a license like a car. So that means you pay for it to be brought up to code. When you think it's up to code and up to standard, you pay for it to be tested, the same as you would a car. Any other situation like this, and you prove it, then you get your license. Once you have your license, it's your duty to maintain. Simple. Not only that, but there should, 20 years of disability law, and you don't even have a protocol for how to defend yourself or even get records and stuff, other than deny, deflect, obstruct, criminalize, victimize, and whatever. Water's really shallow, I guess, eh? They only create debt through dependency using the pandemic and claim not-for-profit health care. Okay, so why is there a critical bed ratio? So currently, they're calling this a pandemic crisis with ICU beds because they have what's called a critical care bed ratio. And currently, for a population of 350,000, because you're allowed one bed per 100,000. You get that? So based on their normal numbers, a population of 350,000, which is roughly what we are, around 350,000, we would be allowed, under normal circumstances, 3.5 to 14 beds of ICU. Okay, that's what they said, and this is from the government numbers. I went and looked at it because I'm going, what's this crisis situation? Because they're saying, oh, but the ICU beds are full. Now we get to decide who gets treatment, who doesn't. Sort of like what they did with me. I'm notwithstanding. I can go die. There's nowhere to go. And by the time you get your complaint in, you'll be a corpse. You know, so this ratio, it's not a for-profit healthcare, right? But why is this ratio there? It's because it's called cost outweighs benefit for the system overall. And how do they come up with this number? Based on insurance companies and underwriters and you know, all the people who design this system and run the system. So you're talking about 350,000 people. If there's only 3.5 to 14 beds under normal circumstances, that's still not much.